What the hell?
This is the terrible Cars ripoff. Because how else should we mark Cars turning 20 years old this year? This is a movie that goes by the name of A Cars Story. Somehow they managed to get Cars, A Bug's Life, and Toy Story covered in one big title. When you think of Cars movies about a red car with an electrically inspired name released in 2006, you probably don't think of this one. You think of Radiator Springs, Owen Wilson's voice, merchandising extremes, and dated jokes like this. But no, there was another movie released at basically the same time, full on, A Cars Story, Sparky's Big Adventure. And in principle, maybe this movie's plot's completely different. A movie about a red car's about as basic a premise you can get, and believe it or not, Pixar cannot have an issue with a movie on that basis. That being said, it is hard to ignore the timing, the similarities, and the completely Pixar-coded title to try and get gullible people to buy it. Cynical bootleg movie is the flavor here, but hey, I guess we could at least give it a go. What feat of animations will we reach with this one?
Are we there yet?
No.
Honestly, I found that quite funny. It then descends into the well-trodden "are we there yet now" trope, which immediately exposes the tier of writing we're about to face for the next hour and a half. But the timing of that blunt no, it kinda got me, I gotta say. Maybe I'm in a good mood. Anyway, in this movie, the old blue car isn't just the father figure for the young red car, he is his father.
I am your father.
A father whose personal mission with this movie is to teach kids how to drive.
Sparky, don't change lanes without signaling.
So if you're upset about the holes in the Pixar Cars universe, you're not gonna like this one where cars can apparently procreate. Still think robots had the best workaround for this kind of issue with the build a baby gag. And then...
Whoa! This is gonna hurt!
Oh wow, we've actually jumped straight into Cars 3 with this one. Can't wait for Sparky's traumatic crash with parts of him flying everywhere. And a dad's reaction is exactly what you'd expect.
Oh.
Also, we quickly established that birds are also in this Cars world.
This is gonna hurt!
Remember, the birds that were in the For the Birds short appear in the original Cars. Turns out Sparky's fine and safely lands back on the ground, and his dad stops him moving by crashing into him.
Sparky!
Visuals are a light bump, sound effect used, traumatic road incident involving father and son. Yay. And this guy just continues to not give Sparky any wheel room here.
Stop doing that.
What?
Anything.
Have we just found the Cars version of Buck Cluck? Thankfully, Sparky's an absolute king and claims his individuality.
Well, I'm not a baby, and I'm not you.
Have we just done the final confrontation as the opening? But no, this is leading into...
I wish I could.
This is not a musical.
If this was made now, you'd think they'd ask ChatGPT every basic story and comedy convention and just stack them together.
No, it's a gulag.
What is happening? Did you just reference gulags, as in labor camp? It honestly wouldn't surprise me if the story team was venting about whatever terrible conditions they made this under. I did not think the dialogue was going to be throwing gulag at me today. From gulags, we then go into some choice editing and voice work going on.
Beyond the road?
Yeah.
Like off-road?
I think Sparky may well be a contender to join the Pauly Shore Pinocchio. I'm loving this guy and his cursed delivery and gulag references. Also, this guy wants to go off-road when he's already halfway there, being in the middle of the desert. I have no idea where they're meant to be, but a certain Radiator Springs Route 66 setting comes to mind with the imagery they're at least attempting. But despite the vibes he's giving off, Sparky's dad would excel in today's mental health space.
You need to set boundaries.
But it's all good because Sparky has all the banter queued up and ready to go.
I hate limits, especially speed limits.
I'm starting to think this is a road safety awareness movie. As Sparky exercises his dislike to speed limits by breaking out into this sequence of PS2 gameplay. He's lucky this desert is just laced with preset ramps for him to use. And we just have like 2 or 3 minutes cutting between Sparky doing the same actions and his dad saying the same thing.
Sparky car, slow down.
If you ever want to be in a trance from watching a red car with a fixed, disturbing smile weaving between cactuses, then boy do I have the movie for you. Sadly, what I suppose is meant to be an action sequence comes to an end with a speeding ticket, handed out by this cop car with his... I don't know what that is. Also no idea why he sounds like a gangster.
I'll let you off with a warning. This time.
Not a good look on Sparky here. He gets off the hook and his dad gets a ticket. Not to worry, our main man's on the case.
This ticket is your fault, and you're paying for it.
In fact, I'm also starting to think this is some state-funded propaganda.
Somewhere without policemen, you'd wish there were cops.
Like, everything so far has centered around obeying the law, and it just gets better.
Piston was wise. Let's pay him a visit.
Yeah, they cut to Piston's grave.
He did what in his cup?
I mean, it looks like someone's done something there with whatever that brown splodge is meant to be. It's how he was so casual before, and then it just suddenly escalates to full, right kids, this is the concept of death. But sure, let's get another pun in whilst we're at it.
What does R.I.P. mean?
Rest in peace.
I'm also kind of suspicious that Piston's grave is just in the middle of this wasteland with no other grave. Just this solitary, tiny gravestone just to turn off the road. And this is when a mystery is set up in the movie. Because that brown splodge is actually the only bit of Piston his dad could find. So he went missing and just presumed he was dead. Gave him a gravestone and left one piece of his manes rusting away next to it.
If Diesel had reported it when your cousin first went missing, things might have turned out differently.
Yeah, that's totally what they did. Sticking with the comply with the police vibes as well.
Piston's wife Diesel?
Piston's girlfriend.
I'm guessing because they weren't married, it's meant to be more suspicious or something? Is this movie with the SpongeBob-looking car a murder mystery now? Anyway, we get a lot more lore of this universe at the petrol station as we meet a living gas pump.
Here comes the boss.
That's a horrible experience, just expelling oil from your body into other people. Can't go anywhere. That's all this guy exists for. Reimagining what the Cars universe can do makes you count your blessings on what they actually ended up going with at Pixar. And if you thought that guy's voice was a bit much, well...
You okay, Speedy?
Don't I look okay?
That being the frequency she will retain at for the remaining duration. And rule 1 of writing, if you want to establish someone as the funny character, then...
Good morning, Sparky. You're so funny.
Yeah, that'll do. I profile my friends with a description first thing as well. Except they're not friends. They are brother and sister. And this cast of 5 characters all work at this gas station. Jobs listed at this engagement that I'm not speedrunning at all include stacking the tires, the fuel shipment at noon, and checking the tank for leaks. With the big drama being that first name Sparky, second name Car, is going to check it.
Sparky? Check the tank?
Don't know what he's so worried about. Sparky's clearly a sane, good-humoured character.
Good morning, Gracie.
And even when they cut back to their dad, you can see him still doing it in the background. Are asylums a thing in this universe? And each line just opens up a new question about how this universe even works. Classic.
You were young once.
I was never that young.
I mean, 1, what does that even mean? 2, what kind of life has this damn pub welded into the ground had exactly? I need to know these things. Is there a sequel to this? Yes! Yes! Yeah! On to more interesting parenting as Daddy Car tries to get Sparky to wash.
Child abuse.
Whoa! Another, did not expect to hear that in a Cars story moment. We started with a labor camp joke. We've now reached child abuse. This script is just fascinating. And honestly, with the sound effects they're using, I can't disagree with Sparky. That does not sound like a minor collision.
Stop pushing me.
You add a different music here and it would get sinister. Alas, after he's beaten into the car wash, Sparky sits there getting brushed by grey spaghetti with animation that's sure to rival the major theatrical release they're trying to capitalize on.
Don't come out until you're clean.
This guy is just the worst. We then have the alluded to Diesel, who it's been made clear we can't trust because she was just Piston's girlfriend and not wife, which is a bad thing. As is the smoking that she's partaking in to really tell kids she's a bad character.
So sue me.
Because if I was a sentient version of a vehicle full of flammable liquid, cigarettes would be on my list of good ideas as well. Oh, and yeah, she's a Jeep for some reason. Okay, because when I think of reckless, irresponsible characters, I think of uptight military vehicles. I love how the dynamic between Fillmore and Sarge in Cars perfectly illustrates why this design for the suspicious character is an odd choice. She is suspicious though, just check out her lines. Spot the small details in her behavior which clearly signify she shouldn't be trusted.
You got to live dangerously or die trying.
I'm sure it's fine. This encounter starts to Dad, name still pending, being worried about Sparky going the same way.
If Sparky goes down the wrong path, I can't even think about it.
Why does this line just make it sound like he's gonna get lost in the drug underworld? And just in case you wanted the most annoying voice of all time to deliver a message on prejudice, whew, need a bingo card for this movie.
Because a car is a little different doesn't mean that car doesn't have feelings.
You're very welcome. But she does pipe down for this line that also has weird implications.
He's my life coach, you know.
This child teenager, whatever he is your life coach? And then... Now at this point, you're wondering, clearly this is an injured character, or a rusty old character. No, it's this purple diva car with a New Jersey accent who seemingly made that noise for no reason.
I'm not paying for high octane.
Why is every voice actor shouting their lines in this? Well, it turns out there is one, as we get yet more lore about this weird universe.
Gas leeches.
Gas leeches.
Yeah, this purple New Jersey car was attacked by creatures called gas leeches.
It's lucky they didn't kill you!
Say what you want, but this is in fact a very different plot of Cars. A faintly interesting original bit. I wouldn't be surprised if gas leeches had done a number on Mater. And you've noted that Speedy the pink car has continued at that cadence as well. And I love that, where Pixar at least tried with articulating the wheels to be expressive and functional as arms, here they're just like, robot crane arm it is. Like at that point, you may as well have 2 robotic hands pop up, because these crane arms aren't time efficient. This window cleaning sequence takes almost a full minute. They are really killing time here. But don't worry, after this bit steadily approaches completing its 2nd minute, there is a punchline.
That's not wiper fluid, that's motor oil.
Man, they're really catching out on all of the jokes that Pixar missed. And supposedly, everyone just stood around and watched this mishap gradually take its course. I say supposedly, as the animators gives them a break from having to show them at all in any of these shots. Believe it or not, that line wasn't even the end of it, and this hilarious comedy mishap continues as...
I can't see! Help!
She can't see, despite her eyes clearly being separate from the dirty windshield. This makes me wonder if the script, not that I can even believe one was involved here, was written with the Pixar character designs in mind. Because then at least this would make sense, as the windscreens are the eyes in that series. I just love the idea that they first saw the teaser for Cars in 2005, wrote a script to rip it off, found out they couldn't copy that character design, and then kept this bit in the script anyway. Mwah. Problem solving. Ignore it. And I thought this was going to be a boring, uneventful bit of bad animation. Nope, it's chaotic bad as it turns out. I mean, cue more interesting sound choices from the purple car. And she keeps making these noises and spinning around for another full minute. Way to take the wind out of it. Including, finally, the rest of the cast that have not existed in a single shot for the past 4 minutes or so, turn up again for the reaction shots they forgot to put into the rest of the scene. Sparky's missing in the wash, mind you. Remember all that stuff about his dead uncle? Yeah, me neither. And they're all just watching this purple car spinning around blind and making strange noises. Until 5 minutes after this car arrives, she drives off and we never see her again. It'd be nice if there was a story arc in this movie, eh? Guess it's time to reintroduce the title character.
Sparky, get out! You're wasting water!
Hey there, thank you for making it to the halfway mark of this video. Come subscribe if you haven't already for more terrible animated movies. We've got a long list of rip-offs to cover at some point, so we'll probably be ramping up more on those soon. Plenty of Pixar and DreamWorks ones. Thanks for tagging along, and now to the second half of this video.
Sparky, get out! You're wasting water!
Dude, you're the only one that put him in there. You cannot win with this guy. You practically beat him up to get him in there. I think he is officially worse than Buck Cluck on the bad parenting chart right now. He just yeets his kid into the car wash and then has a go at him for wasting water. And it doesn't help that the Cougar Army Jeep's just waiting there, still with cigarette in hand.
Don't you look snazzy? You look like a hot rod.
Maybe the child abuse line wasn't too extreme. And notice the next point of almost referencing Cars.
Auto swag over on Route 6.
Now, you know, that iconic American road. Route 6. To be fair, it's a rip-off of a general American reference, not Cars specifically, but still. They were so afraid of touching Cars that they wouldn't touch Route 66. Anything you say, creepy car.
Tell him Diesel sent you.
And so, as overzealous dad is suddenly no longer keeping an eye on him, Sparky heads off on Route 6. And I know it was too difficult for this tier of animation to show Sparky getting his mods, or as he puts it,
I want to trick my ride.
but just keeping things to this establishing shot just makes it seem so sinister.
Let's get started.
Like, for all we know, this is the Cars version of Saw going on in there.
It really hurts. Oh!
What, did they not invent anesthesia and surgery in the Cars universe?
A few moments of pain for a lifetime of gain.
It's also the fact we never see this auto character either that makes the whole thing seem odd. It was definitely to save money and effort, but the results are something else. Just like Jaws not showing the shark, Auto's impact is sustained by his absence. You see, Spielberg's legacy even reaches A Cars Life Sparky's Big Adventure. Not that the adventure has even really started yet, and I've been recording for 30 minutes. And the results of this car mutilation workshop?
I feel like an idiot.
Yep. Bullhorn and gold lips, which is the perfect opportunity to acknowledge the fact that Sparky's mouth has stayed permanently open for the entire run of this so far. Did you notice? Anyway, let's see how the dad character reacts to his little development.
You look ridiculous. Your recklessness is going to lead to serious trouble someday.
I'm guessing this is a roundabout way of saying don't get tattoos, kids. He doesn't crash into him this time, though. In direct contrast to these first comments, though, he's suddenly weirdly forgiving after previously punching him into a car wash.
Every car tries new things at your age. I certainly did.
It's definitely attempting to metaphorically cover a host of teenage problems here, yet too vague to directly translate to any kid trying to actually understand it. Anyway, let's have some more of that sweet, naturally delivered dialogue.
Good. And you're grounded.
Impeccable. And lo and behold, the shady jape is still there smoking.
Nice new look, Sparky.
How long has she been there?
Lance Hot Rod doesn't look stupid.
The movie star?
I've got a horrible feeling that's an in-between of Lightning McQueen and Lance Armstrong. I mean, pretty sure the stuff he was up to wasn't public knowledge in 2006. Lance, I mean. Lightning's still under investigation. Anyway, not that I can say I'm excited for him, but Diesel then convinces Sparky to take High Pitch McGee here to see said Lance Hot Rod in a movie.
Oh, let's go! Make history!
Poor Sparky. Also confirmation that cars have normal food in this universe. It's not oil. Also, the movie within a movie seems to be actually displaying a genuine historical event. That being the vehicle that broke the land speed record. Not what I was expecting from this movie. A genuine thought through detail. I really like this. Anyway, seems as they couldn't afford for this drive-in theater to have a full audience. It is apparently completely unsupervised. Alas, the gas leeches are here. And they... pump their butts full of Sparky's fuel. Don't look at me, that's literally what's happening here. There's definitely a joke in there about gas leeches and current American foreign policy, but we'll just leave it at that, shall we? And you know, this script was written a little earlier than current events. Anyway, like the rest of these annoying characters, a big part of the gas leech's MO is saying the same line over and over again, in a high-pitched voice, which Speedy also does as she continues to watch the movie while Sparky chases after them. All the power to her, it'll be a better movie than the one she's actually in. That's until the drama of the movie's so great that she faints. Sparky's Big Adventure, keeping dated female stereotypes alive. Also, where's the adventure? Likewise, Sparky runs out of gas and also passes out. As a police car tows him to safety in the morning, the reaction to him having disappeared all night is as sympathetic as you'd expect.
It was the gas. I didn't ask.
That's the moral here, folks. If you go to the movies, leeches will suck your gas out and no one will care the next day.
Do whatever you want. You don't need a dad.
I feel like the music is kind of undermining the confrontation they're attending here. But yeah, Dad has no chill again.
Daddy, chill.
Prepare for them to put out those clever metaphors.
I need to find my own road.
I'm just a roadblock.
Best Screenplay Academy Award on its way as we speak. For 2006, anyway. Although Speedy got back just fine after being left at the drive-in. No consequences for her to worry about.
You gave me a flat tire.
I said I'm sorry!
She definitely should have had her subscription to employment cancelled at this point. Old smoky murderer Jeep's back as well, conveniently always at a point where they've stopped animating the dad. And they used this opportunity to do a bit of ripping off the Lion King, because why not? Cover them all, why don't you?
The Badlands, a place with no rules.
All they're missing was the dad first saying, "You must never go there, Sparky."
My dad says they're dangerous.
That'll do it. This movie has no shame at all, does it? Does this also put us in play for the Jeep pushing his dad off of a cliff? Shall we get more of the Pixar Cars vibes in there while we're at it?
That's where they hold the annual Champions Cup race.
And finally, another weirdly coded line. It's just a full bingo spree at this point.
Everyone respects champion races, even daddies.
Is this entire movie's theme daddy issues?
But my dad...
Forget daddy.
But then, in a move that undermines the whole thing anyway, father-son-wise, old dad pops up in the scene for a quick chat.
Have you been to the Badlands?
It was a long time ago, and there were a bunch of us.
And is suddenly quite casual about the conversation, despite Sparky being with the super shady character and directly asking him about the Badlands. And then he just sort of leaves. They can't even be consistent with these terrible characters. Thankfully, the damn pump's on hand to talk to Sparky like he's goddamn Ebenezer Scrooge.
If you want to amount to anything, you better change your ways.
Unfortunately for them, though, turns out we've been looking at Chekhov's cigarettes this whole movie.
Fire! Fire!
Presented with quirky music in the background, this being who lives filled with gasoline is now faced with a life-threatening situation and dies?
Sparky's going to set a new speed record.
To which none of the cars respond at all.
I wanna go.
Like, there is absolutely no response to Diesel setting there on fire whatsoever. And better still, after all that and watching Sparky drive off once again from a conversation with Diesel, they do not suspect a thing.
Diesel, you planning to hang around here all day?
This guy. Even when she says, "I've got plans," with an evil laugh, he just stands there motionless. Over to the Badlands, which I guess are called that for their bad lighting. And once again, it's just minutes of the same shots and voice recordings over and over again. And considering the voice performances involved, that's a lot to cope with. That's until they find a trophy completely unattended in this desert.
The Champions Cup.
And apparently, despite all the good record breakers having no one to witness and validate it, Speedy can now attempt the land speed record to win it. Leading us to what is supposed to be action shots, but they're more benign, shaky car gifs with some F1 sound effects thrown on. But it's not long before Sparky has to stop with his "I've overdone it" alarm going off, which gets a suitably mental health aware response.
You'll be fine in the morning.
Cut to more of this kind of content. And yes, we get another minute of this. Can you tell how much I'm enjoying this? But after more of this noise, Sparky suddenly stops them to deliver a moral conscience.
No rules in the Badlands.
But there are consequences if we make a bad decision.
Meanwhile, the pump gets resurrected from the dead.
Norbert, you all right?
Sparky?
How have they made this guy the strict dad and the super dopey dad at the same time? Like, are there two writers and they can't decide what he is? As the annoying pink car keeps pressurizing Sparky beyond his limits, lo and behold, the dodgy Jeep is there to presumably murder them.
A boot! Fast! Go get my dad!
Alas, Speedy just stays there and lets the boot thing happen.
What a pretty shoe.
And this is absolute peak for this annoying character, as she decides to make this point.
Why is the world so judgmental about quirky cars, especially female?
Some of these lines just completely come out of nowhere. Do the writers think they can pat themselves on the back by being self-aware about the things they themselves are guilty of? And all of a sudden, in the middle of a desert, this is feeling more like a Cars version of Breaking Bad. And oh look, evil mate has arrived.
Being not nice.
And likewise, the Wally-looking gas leeches, who do their thing again. It's just the same load of awful again and again. It's like if the minions could only say one word.
They're my minions, you fool.
Oh, I see. It's official. Despicable Me copied a Cars story, Sparky's Big Adventure. And all of a sudden...
You are annoying.
Jesus Christ! Just smashing one of the main characters to pieces. I was not expecting this. And as the scene continues with Sparky and Diesel, they just have her continue to be smashed up in the background.
You just have to be careful.
Like, you have to be young to be convinced to sit through this thing. And right in the climax scene, suddenly trauma decides to show up. But anyway, this all leads to the big reveal.
You killed Piston?
Your cousin and I came here for a picnic.
Not the murder reveal, that was pretty obvious at the start. No, I'm talking about Cars having picnics now.
I sold him for scrap.
And finally, in a shot that looks the most bootleg Cars yet, we have our Lightning McQueen avatar fighting our evil Mater avatar. Alas, he doesn't win, and it's looking all game over.
Goodbye, Sparky.
How does something this terrible still feel like too much peril for kids? Until the biggest that escalated quickly moment ever, as the police car turns up and... What? And it looks more dramatic than how it actually turns out, as all it does is knock Diesel over rather than blow her up. But alas, Dad and the pump are now there to save the day, which was totally preventable as the suspicious strict dad somehow completely missed the fact that the villain he suspected killed his nephew was talking to Sparky about the Badlands right in front of him. Honestly, everything that's happened in this movie is his fault. I'll stand by that. But one thing Speedy won't stand by is death because...
Speedy?
Well, there goes hoping. And now, for your pleasure, Diesel's defeat noises, because it's been the whole movie anyway. Sure, they could do anything at this point, and I wouldn't be surprised. Probably. The bazooka's kind of the be-all, end-all.
That's what daddies do.
And on we go to the big, here's the message beat. Is there a moral to this story?
Rules are really important. I'll never drive fast again.
Comply, young child watching. But sure, normal laws, I guess it makes sense.
We have to stop fooling around. It's time to grow up.
I can't defend that one. These morals are kind of genuinely awful. Also, time to stop fooling around is pretty rich coming from the people who made this.
But I'm just a baby.
And then just to put a nice bow on the weird vibes from the dad throughout this movie, we come to finalize on this.
Sparky, don't overreact.
Don't overreact, son. Want to see the inside of my butt? It's also a mechanic that the actual Pixar cars can't do, I don't think.
I won it just before you were born.
What? Yet another beat that makes me feel like they had some plot details of Cars when they made this. But also, maybe you could have used that to inform some of your parenting if it's in your blood to want to race and adventure and do something. Who cares about the character depth of these characters?
Wow.
He then also reveals his underhood tattoo, which Speedy,
who did not die,
gives a suitably middle-aged interpretation of a 2000s response to.
Wicked!
And just to fully cement Dad's I can be a rebel arc, we have this interesting message to leave on.
There are no speed limits out here, right? Nope.
Huh? Ah, right. Ending with yet more shots of the cars driving aimlessly. With the end credits flashing over in Comic Sans. You know what? I was wrong. This is cinema, obviously. Honestly, I cannot think of a more fitting way for this movie to bow out. Clearly, Sparky's big adventure wasn't copying the plot of Cars, but you can definitely tell it was made to capitalize on it. The timing and some of the similarities are just hard to ignore. It's like if someone was told to rip off Cars after having the movie on in the background whilst paying attention to something else. They probably only had a trailer to bounce off of anyway. If that. I just feel sorry for any parent who was gullible enough to buy this. Should I be sorry though? Should you be sorry for gullibility? But it did get a DVD release and you can still buy it. We did. And boy are the Amazon reviews interesting. Honestly, having one of the main characters getting smashed up by a truck would probably scar a 3-year-old. Crazy it's in there. I even found an Amazon review where someone said that their son had Cars Life 2 for a long time and requested the first one to pick up the history. What an introduction that kid must have to Cars movies. This may well be my lead into watching the sequel because clearly it drew a child into watching the original and I need to know why. But at least for now, that was the terrible A Cars story, Sparky's Big Adventure. What a time to be had. For now though, my name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this video. Do tell us your thoughts. Have you seen this movie before? Got any history with it? Maybe some tiny trivia that's worth hearing about? I'd love to hear all of your thoughts and more. But otherwise, I shall see you all in a little bit. Cheerio.